do
Good.
have. Um,
Awesome. I'll do a quick introduction, then I think you can
mm,
uh, take it from here.
see.
So, so we have Nimshi here. I think he goes by Nimshi, but I'm used to calling him Venkat, but he prefers Nimshi. So we have Nimshi here. He's a good friend of mine. We again go back to like 2018, back when we started working with Abridge, which was like one of our first big companies, like long working company there. And we were like one of the earliest employees. We both were like founding employees or members of the machine learning team at Abridge. Uh, Venkat specifically focused a lot on like generative AI, speech recognition, uh, medical ontologies, and after Abridge, he worked at Microsoft Research, where he worked on hard, challenging uh, machine learning problems like bio AI, genomics, and right now he is working at Apple on speech recognition models. And Venkat also has a deep entrepreneurial passion as well. If any, you guys should connect on that. Uh, but yeah, he is one of the most knowledgeable persons in Gen AI that I know. Uh, and he has also worked at big tech startups. Uh, yeah, like some of the companies I have mentioned already, that also includes Walmart as well. But yeah, I'll let Venkat take over.
Mm. Thanks for the intro, Sai. So yeah, let me share my screen. I don't know, somehow I'm getting some warning sign with sharing. Oh, okay. I think I need to grant some permissions. Okay,
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so yeah, today I just wanted to, yeah, like Sai said, wanted to cover my experience through startups and through working at like research teams, enterprise teams, and consumer tech. So how things are different at different kinds of companies in ML, and how working is different and at these companies. I think would be might be helpful for people who are entering the field, who are already in the field, and want to see how it looks like from inside. Um, cool. Yeah, I just want to have this more like a discussion. You could keep us, you can jump in and ask any questions in between. So we can have it like more conservative. Um, cool. So since we're doing the Gen AI, I made my slides with Gen AI here. So just to list my background, I have worked with Sai together at early stage of a bridge AI on healthcare AI solutions, and then I later worked at Microsoft Research, building core AI research solutions in biopharma space, and later. I led enterprise AI systems at Walmart Data Ventures. And currently I'm at Apple, focusing on speech systems. Let me see. Yeah, so Abridge is a startup. So when I worked at Abridge, we are at very early stage, like we call seed funding to Series B funding. Seed funding is like the first stage of funding you would get in a startup. So we are really in the founding members, like Sai mentioned. So 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 what kind of experience you get working in a startup, right? So there is always rapid growth and impact. Um, Essentially because you're one of the few people, early people in the company, so you could directly influence all the company direction and product, and also you have chance to learn a lot. So um, So your role is not limited to do this thing or that thing, but you can really learn multiple aspects. Not just to like maybe focus on research. You can also do engineering. You can wear multiple hats. You interface with the folks from business and marketing. So you kind of get a much more broader perspective than working, say, at a big company. There is also uh, there is also like working at a startup is also like some sort of demand in a sense. We need to achieve a lot with little resources, and that also I've seen enable innovation a lot. So that's experience at working at startups, and basically what I did, we did at startup, right, Average. So this is one of the first jobs. So this is like really building a foundation and domain expertise in the industry. Uh, and this specifically enabled to build everything from scratch because we're starting from nothing. We're building everything from scratch, like full machine learning life cycle, starting from annotations, data annotations, getting the data ready, and also explore through research, read papers, and develop models, get ideas from those papers and implement those ideas into models, and iterate over that over maybe months or sometimes years to really find a solution. And it doesn't just stop at research. It's beyond research. The ultimate goal is to help end users. So there is the development phase of it, and then actual production deployment for end users. So really, it could work through end to end from the whole, and you would have, even if you don't work, you would have that exposure at startup. Um, so the work we did primarily was on the medical note generation. So essentially, whenever you go to a doctor in US, there is a mandate that the doctors have to write a note, a clinical note. Um, uh, so usually doctors don't have much time to write it, or they spend a lot of time on 1 to 2 hours at the end of their work, which is like taking a lot of time. So that's where the a bridge comes in. We developed these automated ML-based models that could automatically summarize doctor-patient conversations and neatly arrange that summaries into how doctors would write a note. Um, and getting that note is not enough, but there's also a need for how people need to trust these solutions, right? It is AI. It can generate some text, but do you always trust it? Um, so at Abridge, we also try to build the factuality and build trust and safety through some sort of grounding mechanism. Uh, Not just show the results of AI, but also like ground that into the transcript and use medical ontologies to identify any hallucinations that the models can make. So we can ensure the medical accuracy. Um, so that's the productization part of it. And on the cost optimization is on the engineering part of it. Essentially, you're deploying these multiple models and across that are using GPUs. And GPUs are back then, I mean, even now expensive, but back then also more expensive. Um, so how do we, once we have this model ready and everything, how do we optimize the costs? Otherwise, it would be a lot more expensive, 3 4 times more expensive than what we have. So reducing this inference costs through different approaches, optimizing the GPU usage, tuning the pipelines or models. That's at the this is at the last last mile of the delivery. So once you have that uh, developed ML models, built a product, and you shipped it, and then you're trying to optimize costs. Um, so this is how the life at startup is. Very exciting. You're working at cutting edge. You're working on everything, wearing multiple hats. Um, so yeah, I would say yeah, it- the learning experience is really great, which you won't be able to get at other scale companies. That's the advantage of being at a startup. And after a bridge, I went to Microsoft Research. Focused on so it's a bit of a shift for me because at startup we're focusing on all the areas, right? Not just research, not just research. It's across the full stack, engineering and product and everything. But so Microsoft is research is like a pure research role, where folks just focus on fundamental and applied research, just try to push the boundaries of AI in different domains. There is also a lot of cross-disciplinary collaboration. You kind of end up, suppose you're building some AI solution for doctors, you would want to work with doctors, right? And if you're building AI solutions for pharma industry to make drugs that help patients. You would actually also work with the actual scientists who develop these drugs and tablets, chemists and biologists who are working in these pharma companies like Sanofi, UPS, and others. So there is that collaboration is available, and there is also a good focus on the projects that completely focus on research and try to solve a problem that has like good societal and industrial impact. Um, and in the research labs, there is certainly a culture of innovation and experimentation. There is not a lot of pressure to build a product, but to get really since you're solving problems that are not productizable yet. So it's like in the very early stage of problem solving, and these research labs give you a lot of freedom to explore and experiment um, all the research ideas you have and deliver solutions. Um, so primarily my work is involved in like working with industry partners in pharma companies and build identify areas in their workflows where we can embed AI and speed up their work or make their work easier. So I was specifically focusing on drug discovery. Essentially, you whenever so we all take tablets, right, for fever or so there's a lot of process behind that to develop ultimately manufacture a tablet. Um, so let me just give you an overview of how that looks like. Um, so this is called drug discovery. Essentially, there are a bunch of steps, the 5, 6 steps they have to go through, and this is like a decade process for sometimes, or decade or more it takes to develop some drugs. Um, and and when AI came, I had a lot of potential to accelerate a lot of steps in this. So this is where how this research came. Um, so essentially, like the first step is to like identify what disease you have, right? I mean, what disease you want to target, and what is in your body that is causing it. Like, what are the protein structures, or what are the genomics or proteomics data sets you could We use Gen AI to extract, actually mine all the research papers in that space, all the literature or electronic health records, to find any things that any protein structures or molecules we could develop to target these diseases. So that is the first stage, like really understanding the root cause of the disease and what can we design to target that root cause. Um, and once so the first step generates like multiple solutions, like you can target multiple proteins or develop multiple molecules. Um, but not every solution works well. Not every drug works well. Some drugs have a lot of side effects, like maybe some drugs are toxic. Even though they work, they're toxic in a different way. And even though they work, your body might not absorb it very well, and it's not distributed very well in the body. So uh, in the first step is to like generate multiple candidates that might potentially work. And the second step, usually they take these molecules and try to find these properties called ADMET properties, where what is the toxicity of the drug, and so on. Um, so, but if you have like thousands and thousands of molecules, it's really hard to do that. That's why it takes a long time to narrow down to the specific subset of that large number of candidates. Um, here also Gen AI was used to actually predict these properties from the chemical structures of a drug. So given that chemical structures, how uh, uh, that those representations, you could predict these admit properties that could filter down a lot of candidate solutions. So which speeds up the drug discovery phase. And once you narrow down to further few candidates, in you actually use this data to these molecules to test in real world. People do, I think, animal testing or like even test in labs, simulating the real use case. So that is the like preclinical development. Really understand how it's working in real world. Um, and in this phase also, yeah, there are a few models that are developed to identify and refine these compound selections to further narrow down. And once you narrow down to like final candidate, you have a one drug, but you don't want to release it in the wild. That's where the clinical trials happen. You find maybe you're developing a diabetes drug for diabetes. You hire you run a clinical trial selecting suitable patients. uh, you would only want patients who are willing to do, and also like who has diabetes, so you could monitor all the safety details and everything. uh, and so this is like the real world test after all the filtering has done before. um, so even in clinical trials, AI has been used to like identify populations that can be selected to run the clinical trial, and identify these drug responses in those people in more efficient way. And then finally, once if the drug works well, it needs regulatory approval, and you also need like a post-market intelligence. Essentially, once you release the drug and selling it to everyone in the market, um, you need to understand like how the drug is doing at large population level, monitoring the safety. So all this can be done through like extracting EHR notes or social media discussions and other medical forums to identify those signals. So at every phase, it kind of speeds up the entire process. So this is like a pure research project trying to identify and accelerate uh, drug discovery. So this is like a real world project, a large project with a lot of sub projects involved. That's trying to solve a real world problem with AI. So this is how research works. And finally, I think my experience at Walmart. Walmart is a Fortune 1 company. They're really pretty good at operations, all the retail operations. It's the number one retailer in US. They have a lot of stores, and really, they also have online stores and actual brick and mortar stores that are in several locations. Um, so people can go to a store and purchase groceries. People can go to online and purchase. People can order pickup. People can order delivery. So there are multiple ways of buying for the customers. So so the sellers or the merchants selling these products also want to understand how customers are buying their products and their analytics. So my work here is essentially working at the Walmart scale data sets, um, which which is like I don't think since it's the largest retailer, it has like the largest scale and also the impact through millions of customers, and the innovation is at enterprise level. Like companies like Coca-Cola, all these companies sell their products through Walmart, so they also want to understand all these several Fortune 500 companies wants to understand, get those insights, how um, uh, customers are buying their products or using their products. Um, so this is kind of like different from research. This is at enterprise scale. You want to guarantee enterprise results. There would be more. I would say more rigid structure to the solution you're developing. You pre-plan the solution rather than an open-ended problem. Um, there was definitely an opportunity to like apply this cutting edge AI with this for this real world challenges in retail, um, and you can also benefit from learning how all these operations in retail work, and you're working at the cutting edge of the forefront of AI in applied to e-commerce. Um, some of the things, to give a sample of the projects, the yeah, like I said, the companies like Coca-Cola and others that sell on Walmart, they would want to know the insights of the shopper behavior. Like if I'm selling a product, like for example, one way to understand is, are people buying it mostly ordering online, or people going to store to buy their product, or 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 they're just picking up. So all this kind of information, or like, or who people in which locations are buying. So some sort of all this intelligence. And Walmart has like 100 terabyte scale data sets. So identifying all this information at different scales and different kind of segmentations is the real challenge. Is scale. Operating at this scale is different than operating at startup. Um, and there is also another product that kind of like takes the customer feedback using Gen AI. So you could ask surveys like you were saying um, how their products are. So the companies can send a survey, and GenAI can help with the survey design, and design the survey, uh, and also incorporate like advanced analytics on top of the survey to understand really the customer sentiment. Whether they're really enjoying the product, or even companies like Sanofi use it for their drugs. So this is more like getting feedback directly from the customer. Um, and yeah, some of the other work. So for me, this role is also enterprise scale role is also pretty different from other roles, because you're not just trying to build a solution. You're also trying to scale this solution. You're also trying to scale the team. Not just one solution. So whatever you're building should be applicable for uh, all the sub projects or sub models within a project. Uh, so some things I worked on is like at the horizontal level across all the data science teams. Um, so to collaborate with different data science product teams and build this functionality that every data scientist can build on top of it. Um, so this involves like without this, everyone builds their own model, right? Everyone can build their own RAG model, or build their sentiment classifier, or any other model. But there should be a unified underlying infrastructure, so that everyone can deploy their solution. Otherwise, there's a lot of repetitive work, and also there's no uniformity, and which is harder to maintain. Um, so some of the work was to like develop these deployment blueprints for um, different kinds of situations in which you deploy a machine learning model. For example, sometimes for LLMs or things like ChatGPT, you want a real-time response, right? You don't want to wait for 10 minutes or so when you get response. So there's a real-time deployment pattern, and there are some cases where you might want the results at end of the day for all your questions, maybe. For example, that happens in retail, right? A lot. So maybe you're collecting a survey, maybe people respond at different times, and you would want results segregated at every week. Want to track how is the sentiment is changing, whether are people liking it or not, or much more deeper questions like that are specific to the product. So for those cases, there is like a batch deployment pattern, and and in some cases you get like a continuous stream of data, where you can batch it, you can process it in real time, but you're getting like real time streams of data, like maybe all the sales that are happening across. So every second you'll get multiple transactions happening. So there is like a streaming pattern. Um, so standardizing these patterns also helps the teams to like cut the development time, and also launch these initiatives and get the value to the customer soon. So this is yeah, like working at the enterprise scale to um, get the solutions to the customers. So this is a lot different from doing research or doing in um, doing or working in a startup. You're still focused on a specific area, but you want to make sure it is battle tested, so it doesn't break. Mm, see, so finally, yeah. So I do think some of you might have heard of T-shaped skill set. So what is T-shaped skill set is like you build deep experience in one area, and you, you expand that, build upon that to learn other areas a little bit, so you can really work well. So I think at this stage of AI, it has been transforming so rapidly since I started doing ML. There were different types of roles back then, like there ML engineer, software engineer, data scientist, data analyst, researchers. So people were building deep experience in one area. That's how it worked. Yeah, either you go deep in research, or you go deep in engineering, or you go deep in software engineering, and then build experience in other domain. Suppose if you're a software engineer, go deep there and extend to Gen AI maybe. Um, this deep expertise is definitely needed on the mind, but not just to really succeed in companies. Not just you don't just need the technical skills beyond technical depth. It needs a wide range of skills. Like you want to contribute well with the team. Do collaborate cross-functionally with other teams. You have to influence the strategic roadmaps, and drive the deployment direction. So for all these, you need to build relationships and consensus in all the projects, and drive the cross-functional collaboration to drive some projects. Maybe your team works on one project, other team works on another project, but you need to collaborate to develop a new solution. And so that's where this collaboration is needed. And you also keep ensuring the product direction is going in a manner that is sustainable. So that's where you need to work through and understand and raise any suggestions or things that could improve the direction. Uh, but so this is the traditional T-shaped skill set, but I think it's shifting more to a X-shaped skill set in AI era, um, because with T-shape you have deep expertise and then broad understanding of other disciplines. Um, so, but what's happening with AI is it's kind of collapsed a lot of roles, blurring like traditional job roles. Like there isn't much difference between work of a data scientist or ML engineer in some cases. So it's kind of blurring the job roles at this time, which also opens up new opportunities. So rather than focusing narrowly on one area, you could level up and see the problem you're working on in a much more broader perspective. Um, I, I think for this space, like um, so AI as a co-pilot has been very efficient, uh, although not completely solves everything. It definitely makes people productive. That's well agreed at this point. Um, I think with this, the cross-domain understanding really becomes critical. Like you need to skill up, since a lot of your boring work is, or some maybe for some people, interesting work is kind of getting easier to do than now. Like debugging all your code, or if you get some errors, or if you're working through some configurations, and you have to figure out that previously used to take like hours, maybe taking only like a few minutes now. So I think, yeah, looking so with this. coming in, you need to look at the problem from broader perspective, through product lens and through other cross-disciplinary lenses as well. And also there needs to be adaptability, and we need to be more versatile in navigating these roles, because there are a lot more rapid changes, where roles kind of like mutate, research roles becoming engineering roles, and so on. So this at this phase at least, we need, I think, since AI is moving rapidly, there needs to be continuous learning and flexible problem solving, in the industry, and really ultimately focusing on the solutions that are like give wider organizational impact, and have whole implications for AI initiatives, is something that can be focused on, like focusing on holistic solutions, not in isolation, but thinking through a whole impact is critical, especially as we started using AI, improving AI, and using AI data to improve AI models, using AI feedback to improve AI models. So much more harder questions come up. So I think that's my last slide. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Venkat. That was super, super, super dense.
Mm.
Um, I have lots of questions on a personal basis. But
Mm.
I think let's start from the Q&A. So the first
Mm.
question in the Q&A is I'll be delighted to know if there are any debugging tools you could recommend. So yeah,
Uh,
that's the first question.
let's see, debugging tools for software, or um is this? I would think if you're developing something you're trying to debug, uh, I'm not sure if used some tools like a Cursor, that have integrated AI into the VS Code. Um, that could be one you need to look into. But in a lot of companies, what's happening is, um, there is a lot of internal tooling. Every company develops its own internal tooling, mostly big companies, because they have different kinds of problems. Even there, for example, when I was working at Walmart, I had one configuration file that needs like 100 parameters, and it's hard to know which parameter does what. Like you you have parameter for setting logs, or different levels of logging, or CPU or RAM, or such that, like 100 parameters. So going through all that would take a lot of time, and yeah, and now they integrated an AI solution that could automatically tell you what each one does, and that is quicker. But for, I think, open source, I think, yeah, tools like Cursor are definitely helpful in debugging. Let's see.
Okay. Um, so the next question: how do you pick a right approach when you're trying for a proof of concept? Well, that's very. I know my network went down for a bit.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think it really depends on the problem and what you are trying to achieve. Yeah, since so if you want your solution, you're still exploring. I think the proof of concept is a stage where you're exploring, right? So your solution doesn't need to be battle tested for that stage. So it could be, you could uh, review existing literature, to identify what are all the solutions available to your problem. Um, uh, just like scan through what you have, and try to find what is relevant to the problem you have. So I would suggest that uh, um, always suggest that starting with the problem you have, and uh, and find relevant solutions. Um, and you don't need to spend a lot of time in proof of concept space. Don't need to dive deep, understand everything. Um, um, Pick what works and get something that you can see the results quickly. Uh, and once you have, then you can iterate again and again to improve it. I think a lot of times people can be stuck in trying to get a perfect solution at the first time. But one thing is, I would say is, uh, getting perfect the first time is not necessary. You could always keep improving it. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, starting with the easiest and quickest solution available is would be great for the proof of concept.
Okay, that was perfect. Sorry about that. Let me share my sound. Next question. Oh, wow, there's even another one. What advice would you give for someone who is learning ML now? Now that ML has become easier, will the skills be still be in demand in the industry?
Yeah, so yeah, there is definitely a shift from a couple of years ago. Couple of years ago, the modeling skill is valued a lot. Um, so there are a lot of kind of like applied research types of roles, like you I mean, you need a lot of researchers or engineers to solve a specific problem. Really need to fine tune it for your problem, but uh, I think it has shifted now. So the model itself is kind of like constant, not constant. I mean, don't spend a lot of time on it, but um, you want to improve the model with through data, and so data becomes critical. I think when we spoke last year, so it was the case.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so yeah, data is still critical, and I think that's where opportunities are there for some companies, or even in contexts like yeah, so some things you can only you can add value to. But for example, localizing LLMs for your local context or cultural preferences is something that you could do. But for not just for that, but for any solution, I mean, for any solution for clinicians or you're developing for drug discovery. So the data is more important now. I would say, like, to get the right quality data. Um, there is a lot of efforts going in that data curation skill. So that's one skill that is critical now. And the point is, you have the model trained with this data. Now you need to evaluate how your model is doing, and with LLMs, evaluation becomes a bit complex, right? There is no right answer for everything, or also it's hard to evaluate. So evaluation is something that is also critical. How to evaluate, and also thinking through how you can automate all these things. That is the paradigm for next 1 2 years. I believe will be there. So trying to refine the quality of data you're getting in, trying to automate the evaluation as much as you can. Uh, so there is still those two skills would be in demand, and also there is another skill that yeah, trying to be working at the intersection of AI and product. So solving specific problem with AI, like a bridge was doing with solving problem for clinicians to speed up their time, So save their time for them solving their workflows. Similarly, solutions can be applied in many cases, right? For like how Cursor is doing for developers, um, how some companies do help for like marketing or sales or research. Um, there are some solutions being developed for lawyers to help. So in that intersection of AI cross this other domain is also an interesting space that will because AI's applications will keep on growing, and you and those solutions won't work out of the box. You need to work with actual customers and try to understand their workflows and keep refining those. So that's another space that's also uh, you can spend time. Yeah.
Okay. Lovely. Next question. What is your advice for fundraising, like for people in developing countries?
Fundraising. I haven't done fundraising, but in developing countries, I'm not sure. Uh, but definitely, I think one thing I've seen is there are different types of companies, right? So and it also depends on the market conditions. Especially in US, what I've seen is when you there are some hype cycles when there's a hype cycle going on when AI hype cycle is going on, it is relatively easier to start funding with an idea. But when something is more mature, like cloud computing or something, software as a service, those have matured. Eh, as in like there is much more crowded competition. It is harder to directly raise funds. You need to build a uh, uh, solution first that and make sure it is working, so investor would have a confidence. Um, in a similar way, building a consumer app is very hard because right now anyone can build a consumer app like solving something, but it's harder. I mean, you can get few users to use it, but it is harder to make money out of it. So that's where also investors, I think, feel um, you need to build a lot of baseline before going to an investor in those cases also. Um, but in developing countries, I would feel like there is a lot of opportunities uh, in your context. I think ultimately you can think of every business problem as AI trying to solve a workflow, and in each country you would have different workflows. So you can think of what workflows you have in in your local context that you could automate, and also that is also scalable. Um, that might be try to get maybe some sort of proof of concept, and and yeah, there are ways to bootstrap and get started, and also maybe you can parallelly pursue funding. Try to reach through connections, mutual connections, or through just cold reach out to folks who might be interested in the space. I think there might be some investors specifically focused on healthcare or some domain. So uh, I think if you have some specific domain expertise, you could also reach out to folks in that domain.
Okay. So this is last. Oh gosh, wow, two more questions. Gosh, Nimshi, how much time can you have? How much extra time can you spare? Because I know we're over the
Oh,
limits.
what was that? I missed it.
So I said, how much more time can you spare? Because we're kind of already over the limits.
Oh, how much time can
Yeah.
I? I think yeah. I think I can spend a few minutes if you have any more questions. But yeah, today.
Okay. This is interesting. So I'm going to ask you this last question, then I'll ask my question because yeah, I've been waiting for everyone. So
Mm-hmm.
kindly outline an example of two, I guess two examples where you use the X-shaped skill set to create and manage AI systems. How did you go about learning and applying skills outside of your specialized skill set, and
Mm-hmm.
integrate that with a team to generate a product that the different organizations could use? So she talked about your different organizations you worked in.
Yeah, so yeah, I think this is a really interesting space, and um, I think building AI solutions. I mean, people can build, uh, but the leverage comes from um, bridging two domains. Um, I would say because a pure AI expert can't go to I mean, can go to uh, some domain like medical domain or pharma domain or um, law or government operations. So you can go into any domain, but you need to understand what happens in that domain. So if you're trying to solve a problem in healthcare, you need to understand what the problem is. So I think definitely partnering with some domain expert is um, would form that extra skill set in that sense. Or uh, folks who are experts in one domain also could learn another domain. Um, like you could fundamentally start from first principles and um, learn another domain. Maybe uh, try to solve a problem from a fresh perspective. Sometimes a lot of people who are already in that domain wouldn't see the solution in your way. So that's also another advantage. But I think the value definitely lies in bridging, combining AI with uh, some sort of domain knowledge where you have full understanding of how people are struggling to solve a problem or why they're what is something that is really boring or boring but important, but AI can automate it. Um, so you look at problems at that intersection and you form that X, I would say. If you yeah, if you are more entrepreneurial, but if you're more into working in a tech company, then maybe like learning more about product management or other domains, software engineering or ML engineering, a little bit extending into that space would definitely serve well in future.
Okay. So now she's my turn. So my question. So the first question I want to ask is very similar to the same question I asked you last time you got here.
Mhm.
In this era, you know how like they have lots of research scientists that are, the meta anthropic, meta is taking everyone. Alludedly, they're saying allegedly, sorry, meta is taking all the research scientists. And
Mhm.
so do you think in moving forward, do you think these PhD students are still going to be so relevant? Because I felt that as AI is becoming, it's kind of coming down. It's no longer as complex as it seemed many years ago. Do you still
Mhm.
think PhD holders are going to still be as in demand as they are right now? Maybe let's say 5 years from now.
Yeah, I think yeah, definitely. I see already I mean, the shift happening within PhD too. Um, so I think PhD programs are also kind of like evolving with this.
Mhm, mhm,
So previously, PhD programs are mostly focused on fundamentally like modeling aspects. A lot of programs folks are focusing on modeling, but that focus in some programs I've seen at least change to evaluation or other aspects like doing interdisciplinary research, um, like understanding AI outputs better, So some academia is already shifted, but I think the demand for like the really core modeling wouldn't be as much going ahead uh, compared to the previous years. But uh, going deep in evaluation itself is like a huge area now with LLMs. So there are so many things, so many areas, so many aspects to evaluate. So yeah, I think research itself kind of changes. To answer your question, I think research itself is kind of changing in some. It's not. It's
Okay.
also evolving. So I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Okay. Um. Cool. So definitely, I'm going to fix first have a meeting after now. But so let me tell you this story. So you know how like NSK.ai was it's still a non-profit,
mm,
and it seems like everyone that saw us said that we're going to turn into a startup except me. I was the only person that didn't see it,
mm,
and now I think I've come to that reality. And so my question is more of like,
mm,
um, how can we create a chat GPT for the African continent? Not, I'm not saying local language, but I'm just trying to say,
mm,
create a of what ChatGPT is offering to countries and organizations. How can we create that in an African context when you have to deal with lack of funding, lack of compute, and lack of knowledgeable individuals? What is,
mm,
if you're in my shoes today, with all what is a step by step plan to do this? Because this is something that I want to
mm,
do.
mm,
My plan was okay. Maybe I need to get a PhD first and maybe work in like an open AI or an Anthropic for 2 years, and then okay, then I can meet investors and all that. But that's like a 7 year plan. How can
yeah.
I
Mm.
cut it down and do that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. Yesterday I seen an announcement from OpenAI. They are starting an office in India. So I think they're definitely expanding to the areas.
Yeah.
Um, I think what I think similarly I think it's just don't I mean don't want to build chat GPT again. You don't want
Mhm,
to build your own chat GPT. What I would say you would partner with chat GPT is maybe the best path where at least
mm.
now partner with
Okay.
companies who are developing, if not ChatGPT, maybe some other startup that is developing foundational models and
Hmm.
partner with them. So the I think it's thinking about the what um, what value you can add to the model that you could uh, make it more usable in your local context. Um, I think a lot of, I mean, there are also like what values you embed into AI, right? uh, there might be, I mean, each country might have its own values or political values or other values. And also maybe, yeah, a lot of local context, people who might ask a lot of local questions. So um, there is definitely an opportunity to create your own data sets there.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I think that's what companies like Scale AI was doing earlier in for US, and
Hmm.
Scale AI was kind of bought by Meta recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say yeah. I think that yeah the value lies in the quality of data in general, and for your local specific context, that's also another thing. Uh, that that anyone can. For that, you don't need a specific skills. I mean, you don't. That skill set is already available in our
Hmm.
kind. Uh, Preparing the data. I mean, creating the data sets with high quality. I think it's more. There would be folks who would be willing, I would imagine, because they would be well versed with their
Hmm.
local knowledge. They're
Hmm.
able to do that. We need efficient process, quality controls to really
Hmm.
scale that up and um, partner with. Um, I think yeah, that's what comes to my mind because that might be the easiest thing. Yeah, because investing in your own LLM is even a lot
A
of
lot. It's a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of are not able to do that. Well, with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
countries with a lot of resources also. And that, so,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
that,
Okay. So just to confirm, so I guess you're saying utilize what already exists and try and fine tune it to your own niche, and
mm,
then build on that, and then hopefully if somehow somewhere you get money, you can build your own foundational model if you can get the funds.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that partnering is definitely, I think people would be interested in. I mean, at least some companies might be interested in. Uh, yeah, so or also you could also try to find some use cases, specific use cases that are high value. That's also a
Mm-hmm.
way to do it.
Okay. Okay. Okay, cool, cool. At this point, I guess it's best we stop now. So one thing I want to just mention once again, thank you for today's talk. I'm guessing lots of people are going to watch the video on YouTube because when the numbers are a bit low, like the people usually just go and revert to YouTube. But Nimshi, today's talk was fantastic. It was way. It was a lot, and I was really grateful for that. So I'm probably going to follow up with you, for I guess we've already started talking about our next boot camp, so probably going to ask you for some recommendations. What boot camps could
Mm,
we do next year? Sorry, I'm not switching on my video. My network is really bad. If I switch it on now, you probably won't be able to hear me. So I'm trying to save manage bandwidth.
mm,
I hope you can hear me.
mm,
Yeah, so yeah, thank you once again. So I'm so to all the participants on the call, I'm going to put Nimshi's LinkedIn in the email. So those of you who are also joining from YouTube or watch the video later, I will drop his LinkedIn in the email. And I'm guessing they could all connect with you and ask you questions, Nimshi. They could
yeah,
all
sure.
yeah. So I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you for today. Sorry, one more thing I wanted to mention. We're also going to send a link for the participants to drop in testimonial videos and text. So next week is going to be the last week of the boot camp. So we want to make sure we gather all testimonials and responses from all participants, so all the good things you experienced, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we are taking testimony, suggestions, and corrections. And then for those of you who are willing to make video, that would really go along because we want to create a final video like showcasing okay the bootcamp had a diverse audience participating from different countries, and we want to use that so that we could tell more people about what we've done. So I'm guessing Nimshi has dropped off. Let me stop recording at this point.